It seems that the no-deal Brexit has become the latest turf over which the contenders are fighting.
Yeah, never ceases to amaze, does it?
Right. So where do you think where do you think we head in terms of this leadership debate, Peter? I mean, we can't predict who's going to become the leader, but what are you watching for? You're watching for what they say about a no-deal Brexit, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, broadly, I think it's very clear that whoever's going to be the next Prime Minister is from a camp that is much more sort of really enthusiastic about Brexit than what we had before. But I would broadly categorize the candidates into, let's say, dealers and no dealers.
Yep.
And I think this is really where the battle line will be drawn. My sense is that in the early phase, when it's amongst the MPs, we will get a sense that the dealer guys, that they will do much better. But as we wiggle down, particularly as we go towards the moment when it goes to the party.
In the second phase.
Then I think that the tone will be shriller. Because at the end of the day, we know that the party base, by and large, is much more in favour of sort of a harder Brexit. So,
yeah.
And I think that's also when the market will start to pay really attention.
I'm very closely watching the line from Dominic Raab, the extent to which these candidates are willing to prorogue Parliament. And
I was just about to get to that.
Right.
I think this is also one of the key things, because when you look at sort of how could we potentially get to a no-deal Brexit, because we know that Parliament is heavily opposed to it, and we know that they have at the least indicated that they would be willing to do something about it. So how do you deal with that if you have a government or Prime Minister in place and that wants to pursue that path? You have to use the process. You have to run the clock down. I think that's the way forward. And one way to eliminate Parliament's say in this would be indeed to prorogue. And I mean, this would be super contentious, of course. Yeah. And therefore, I reckon that anything we hear about that will have the market spooked.
Matt.
I just wonder how far the pound could fall if we see that, if we see a Brexit by WTO rules, which I guess would also entail putting up a wall between the Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland. What's a pound then worth in dollar terms, for example?
First of all, if you allow me sort of the tongue-in-cheek comment, so you're siding with Trump here and comparing it to the wall up there in Northern Ireland, to you. So, I
didn't mean to. That was a Freudian slip.
But back to the question. I mean, in my mind, the best barometer for the strength or weakness of sterling is against the euro, because if you look at cable, I mean, there's so much dollar involved, and particularly now as we sort of move the short end of the US curve around, that's not the best barometer in my mind. And we look at euro sterling. I mean, really, sort of the weakest levels for sterling that we got to is 90. If we really start pricing a substantial odds for a no-deal Brexit, which in my mind is not a given, but if we do, I think this is the magic level to watch out for. That would probably be broken, I would think.